99X in the Morning X, Barnes and Leslie, hanging out with the creator of Shaky Knees, which, of course, is next weekend, May 3rd through the 5th at Central Park. We left on a cliffhanger. Tim, your biggest near miss as far as a headliner where you're like, it's going to happen, and then something just happened and it fell through.
The struggle is real in booking. Anybody that thinks that it just, you throw a bunch of money at it and it happens, that is so far from the truth.
Yeah, timing is everything.
Everything, whether a band's working. I mean, look, back to the word dream. It's like, do I want Radiohead to headline Shaky Knees? Absolutely. Will it ever happen? Those chances are so rare just based on when they're working. They may work in a certain year, but if they're not working the months of when the festival happens, it's not even a conversation. So we've had a couple headliners that I won't mention that, funny enough, have to cancel last minute, days before we announce. Crazy stuff like that. But I think the near miss that has come close for me many, many times, and I continue to try to get them every year, it's just hard to line it up, is The Cure.
Wow.
The Cure is, I've gone after them several times. The offer seems to go up every time, but I continue to try to get them, and I don't know how many years are left of trying to get them. But man, did he sound great on this last tour as well.
Man,
but those are some near misses where we've had some conversations. Oh, okay, maybe we'll book some dates around it, and then a month or two later, they're like, yeah, we just can't make it happen.
I can't imagine.
That's probably the best example.
People don't realize how hard it is to book a festival because now there's so many festivals, but I have to think your reputation is also helpful because artists that have played it before are telling other artists, like, this is the real deal. And I think over the years, you've gotten that reputation. What was the year, Tim, that you were like, this is a thing? Like, this is...
the crossover from Infant?
This is yes.
Great question. One of the hardest parts of Shaky Knees has been the locations that had happened in Atlanta when there was growth and there was some attention, going from a very tiny park next to the Masquerade, including the Masquerade, to Atlantic Station, to Centennial Park, to Central Park, to back to Central Park, so I think for me, it was probably 2015 with that lineup where we were in year 3 and, we took a risk, but we got some stuff that was rare at the time, getting the Strokes. And funny enough, it was Tame Impala. They naturally, because of a mishap, ended up headlining. That was the first festival they'd ever headlined in the US. And now they're an arena sellout, So that year really popped. And I still have people saying to me that was their favorite lineup.
That's funny that the guys that told you early on that that it would never work under the name Shaky Knees, I feel like I would have said the opposite.
Yeah, me too.
It's such a term. Not only is it memorable, but it just has a fun vibe to it, especially with the music context.
Yeah, 100%. And now, now it's the nicknames, and now when you've been around, it's just Shaky, right? You go into Shaky, you go into that, stuff like that. Or my favorite one to come out of it was, post-pandemic, we can't play the show in 2020, and the way things went, we couldn't do it in the spring of 21. So we were the fall of 21 for that year, and it was Spooky Knees. That was everybody's thing, and they're all talking about it online, and we actually ended up doing festival T-shirts to go off that. So
I thought you would go with Shivering Knees. Moving into the fall.
That's right.
I'm sure that someone back in the day told Perry Farrell that Lollapalooza was a bad name. So
guaranteed. Because originally it had to be a bad name. It sounds crazy, right?
I want to ask you about the tattoo thing from a few years ago, because I know over 3,000 people have the Shaky Knees tattoo and they got lifetime admission. Whose idea was that?
That was my dumb idea.
Okay, before you
I will 100%. That was my dumb idea. Fantastic story, one of my favorites. So, I actually have the original there.
Ooh.
Well, let's back up and explain for those that don't know. You came out with an announcement that said what?
So we again, it was a marketing gimmick. I had gotten the brand as a tattoo because I said, listen, even if the festival's not around in 5 years, it's a memory for me, and it's a great memory, right? And so I said, listen, if you're willing to dedicate something that permanent that lasts your life, maybe I can give them something. So year 1, when we did it, I got a little teary-eyed. I think we literally had 50 people show up, and I was a little I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it. Well, then the next couple of years, we were like, yay. And then it cascaded. And then in 2019, we had to cut it off.
Yeah.
So we could make sure that the festival did not give away all its profits in a year that it did. So it ended up in the I won't give you the exact number, but I'll get pretty darn close. It ended up in the 4,600 and change.
Oh, wow.
That's insane.
And so we are true to our word, and we still honor it. And it's the only thing. And we get everybody that shows up, and you had to register and all that kind of stuff.
How do you know? Have you had anyone try to scam you, like with a fake?
Of course.
Oh yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And like, especially in front of 2019, you'd have people that did something. And so the woman or man up at the box office would have like an alcohol swipe on there.
To do a test? They would do like an alcohol pass over?
To do a test. I'm going to say the only thing that I don't care for about it, and I'm not a big fan of talking negative, but the only thing I don't care is the people that come and snag it and go sell it to somebody else or get their wristband and stuff like that. It's kind of get the homage that it's great, you get to go, but don't try to take advantage of it.
Can you imagine the legal these days if you launch that contest now? Because we did the whole 99X tattoo thing way back in the 90s, and you get people doing it, and that was just to get tickets like to one thing.
One thing. Exactly.
People crazy.
Yeah. Well, Tim, we're talking to Tim Sweetwood, the brains behind Shaky Knees, May 3rd through the 5th. When do you start booking 2025? Like, I imagine immediately, right?
Yeah, immediately, if not before.
Yeah.
So that's the music industry gets further and further out. I have many people don't know, but I have like a portfolio of festivals now, not just Shaky Knees. I have up to 8 of them and stuff around the country, and the I'm no joke having conversations right now about fall 25 on certain bands and
I believe it
and things like that. It is just crazy. It's further.
Yeah, you have to.
Well, who's on your no-fly list? That's what I want to know. Who are bad boys or bad girls over the years? You're like, nope, no more.
It's a really good question. We would need more time for that one. But
like antics or like doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, it's a little bit of the golden rule out there for me. You know what I mean? It's one of my pet peeves is when a band will end their set early and you're playing. They
want that money,
and it's like, oh well, I wasn't feeling it, and I was like, all right, well,
discount.
We were all feeling it. Yeah, discount. Yeah. Exactly.
Any other dream artist?
One of the hardest things for me, great question again, one of the hardest things for me is the booking process, because I still hang on to that even though I'm overall with the festival, is what my personal tastes are versus what may work for a festival and what may not.
Because you're buying stocks, essentially. You're trying to watch futures.
That's right.
And look for deals maybe on a...
Yeah, sure. Like, great example, Noah Kahn this year, right? So he's quickly transcended, even though he's been around for a while. So what did he do? We got him on the festival before he decided to play the arena in Atlanta as his tour stop. So he's not playing this year. He'll probably play next year or something like that. So that was a great, financial buy for us, a business.
And now he's huge.
He's excited to headline. We also get the value from him doing that. So, I've always loved metal music and all that, but sometimes will that work? Like Metallica would work, and I'd love to do a Metallica. I know those guys, and that'd be cool. But will a Slipknot work? And I love Slipknot. I don't know.
Kind of takes away that happy-go-lucky family feel.
Yeah, and there's zero wrong with Slipknot. I go to the shows. It's just like that's a very unique fan. You know what I mean? So
be the one to get REM to get their asses up there.
It's not for a lack of trying, sir.
Oh, no.
I'm sure. I'm sure. We need them back together.
That's right. That's where the portfolio of festivals comes in. I'm like, hey, here's 8 offers,
Man.
Yes.
So.
Well, can we get like a little 99X VIP hut somewhere this year? Can you tuck us in somewhere?
A hut.
Yeah, it's over by the ticket booth, and you can help us with the people.
With the tattoos?
Yeah, you can help it. There you go.
That'll be the
Perfect.
hut.
That's
Perfect. Well, hurry. Friday, Noah Kahn. Just a couple of them. Noah Kahn, Friday, Arcade Fire, Young the Giant, Interpol, The Revivalists. Saturday, you've got Weezer, Queens of the Stone Age, The Offspring. Sunday, Foo Fighters, Billy Idol, Portugal the Man, Dinosaur Jr., and more.
All right, so that's next weekend, May 3rd through the 5th at Central Park. Tim Sweetwood, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks for what 99X does and all the influence over the years.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you, Tim.
We'll keep doing it every year. Look for us. We'll be at the ticket window tearing tickets on your way in. It's Barnes and Leslie. This is the original. It is 99X.